What's going on, everyone? I'm back again. It's been a bit since I've recorded a video, mostly just a ton of live streams lately. But welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, I appreciate you stopping by. It feels unusual making a video, but I promised I'd do it. I've got my 31 days of Halloween ranking to go through. This is my ranking. I'd love to hear what yours are, but if you hate some of my titles, and I might piss some people off right off the bat, it's my rankings. Sorry, I'm not sorry though, because it's just personal to me. So a lot of these movies are nostalgic to me. Some of them I missed out on and I watched for the first time recently, and they either weren't scary or didn't, I guess, live up to the expectations I had over the past 30 years or whatever it is. So, but yeah, without further ado, with that being said, let me go ahead and get started. Like I said, it's going to be number 31 I'm going to start with and go all the way down to number 1. There's going to be some surprises. I got some crap on Tim Talks Talkies channel on Saturday. People didn't seem too fond of my top 25 horror films of all time. So it is what it is. You got to have thick skin if you're going to make ranking lists, because people hate your rankings usually. So, yeah, but please sound off in the comment section letting me know how much you hated my list, how much you enjoyed it, if you did, and what some of your favorite movies are on this list, what you watched for 31 Days of Halloween. I did complete 31 Days of Halloween. This was the first time I ever did it. I've never been able to do it all the way through. So I watched 65 total movies I got through. I did not watch all my honorable mentions. I could not do it. I have been driving myself crazy. October was just so busy, so I didn't get around to that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So number 31, I've got Children of the Corn 3, The Final Sacrifice. This comes in that box set from Arrow Video. Yeah, this is my least favorite of the bunch. I kind of hated it. I didn't give anything like a half a star, not even a 1 star. That's my lowest score, and I gave it 1.5. So, but I just didn't like it. The flying corn and stuff like that. It's just no. The Children of the Corn, revisiting the first one and then going through and watching those, they're not that great. But that's my opinion. Next up, number 30, I've got Phantasm. I know a lot of people have said don't worry about not liking the first one. The second one, I think my buddy Vinicio said that the second one's the best. So I'm going to give them a shot, the other ones. I didn't necessarily hate this, just not my cup of tea. I didn't understand what the hell was going on for the most part. Some great visual effects, things like that, but not my style. Not really my style. So next up, I've got Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest. This is number 29. It's okay. It was okay. There's some really cool practical effects at the end. I love the one where the guy has his like head stretched out. I thought that was really cool at the end there. The ending's pretty like really crazy at the end, which was really fun. I liked some of the cast in it, but overall it's just okay. Just okay for me. I didn't love it, didn't hate it, didn't mind it. Number 28, I've got Motel Hell. So this was a rewatch for me, and I didn't think it was as good as I thought the first time I watched it. It's just okay. I remember thinking it was kind of enjoyable, above average first time I watched it. It's just okay. I don't know. There's nothing special that jumps off the page. It wasn't the greatest rewatch for me. Didn't love it. Next up, number 27 is The Funhouse. Very much like Motel Hell. This was my second time rewatching this, and it just didn't hold up. I didn't think it was that great. It's really slow to get started. Cinema Inspired, my buddy Alex over at Cinema Inspired, he didn't like this movie at all. He posted it on his Instagram, was not a fan, in his Letterboxd as well. But yeah, if you've been following my Letterboxd, you know that what my ratings are on all these and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just so slow to start. It's a cool atmosphere, things like that. The setting, it's just not great. I didn't think it jumped off the page. It's okay. That's all for me. It just wasn't great. Shout out to Mika. This is number 26. This is one of her favorite horror films of all time. I liked the beginning. It had some really cool practical effects. Just kind of lost me a little bit as the story went on. Once again, I'd say okay, slightly above average for me. Not going to work for everybody. Really cool practical effects. The 80s were loaded with great practical effects. I liked like I said, the beginning, the story, the dirt bike scene and everything like that. I thought that was great. It was building something special. It just kind of started to fall apart for me a little bit when it should have actually, I should have enjoyed it even more. Very much similar to Pumpkinhead, I've got Rawhead Rex at number 25. There's a scene very much like, I guess you could say Children of the Corn 3 or Humanoids from the Deep, where there's just like one 5 or 10 or 20 minute scene that's just kind of batshit crazy, and that takes place in the trailer park in this one. It's fun. I put it on the same level as Pumpkinhead for me. I watched it back to back. It's not bad. It's okay as well. Some cool practical effects, but the ending of this one lost me. Like the very ending, I did not enjoy that. So not my style. I'm not into that. Number 24, I've got this big old box set. All right, this is probably the one that's really going to surprise some people. I honestly prefer the remake of Dawn of the Dead over this. This is pretty much, for me, here's the thing. I enjoyed this one more upon a rewatch. I remember hating this about 10 or 15 years ago when I saw it. So I enjoyed that a lot more upon the rewatch, but still didn't. It's just okay for me. But I saw it once again. I saw the remake of that when I was like 12 or 13, about 13 years old. I didn't see that until a couple years ago, and then rewatching it, it was better, but I still didn't, it didn't end up in one of my favorites. All right, here's the next surprise that's really going to piss some people off. This was a first-time watch for me as well. So we got Poltergeist here, first-time watch, and I guess it's, it scared the hell out of people as a kid. I didn't see this movie as a kid, so that has a lot to do with it. I missed the boat, I guess you could say. I love the beginning. I love the ending scene, like the last 30 minutes, everything in between to me was just boring. That little short girl, the squeaky voice, such an annoying character. Didn't like her at all. Really bothered me. Yeah, it's not bad. It just wasn't necessarily for me. And I know it's a lot of people's favorites. I did, like I said, I love the beginning, love the ending. Everything in between didn't really work for me, but the transfer looks incredible. It was a first-time watch, though, so keep in mind I'm 31 years old, and watching that as a kid, I'm sure it was a much different experience. So next up, number 22 on the list would be Children of the Corn, the original one. I didn't remember this too well. This was a rewatch. It was not nearly as good as I had thought it was. I still enjoyed it a bit. I really like the characters in this. Is it Linda Hamilton or something? The one from Terminator. But yeah, and then this one, the guy in it was really cool. Man, the kids in these Children of the Corn movies piss you off. I do not like them at all. I mean, they do a good job though, but you just little shits. You just want to kick them. So yeah, that's that. Next up, we have got number 21 is Trick or Treat, which I just watched like yesterday. This is a fun one. It's fun. I mean, another one that I enjoy. It's not the greatest thing. I'm not in love with anthology movies, but this one probably works better for me than most. Once again, not overly in love with it, but I think it's really a fun one. I know a lot of people think this is kind of a classic, and that's okay. I enjoy it. It's just not my favorite, but I enjoy it. Sam's an iconic character. All right, next up, number 20, we've got the Funhouse Massacre. This was a first-time watch as well for me. You got Robert Englund kind of makes an appearance in the beginning. Yeah, Clint Howard's also. You got, it's got a lot of kills, some pretty cool kills. It takes place in a kind of like an amusement park. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie about that. There's some pretty cool kills, things like that. It's not the greatest movie in the world. It's not my favorite, but there's a couple things that bother me about it. But it's a lot of fun. This is a fun watch. It's a good one. And that was a first-time watch, so that was fun for me. Next up, we've got number 19, Humanoids from the Deep. This was a rewatch for me. It kind of same place I felt the first time I watched it. It's okay, and then the ending's just incredible. It's just so much fun. It's just, like I said kind of earlier, just it's crazy, and it's a lot of fun, and you can't go wrong with this one. The ending is just, stay for the ending, and the last 20, 30 minutes are so much fun. Number 18, Night of the Demons. I actually thought this was a tiny bit better upon my rewatch here. This was also a first time rewatch for me. Yeah, it's fun. Especially now knowing who kind of Linnea Quigley is, like watching Return of the Living Dead, and like Jacko, and a lot of my friends being like, yeah, she's that nude woman in every horror movie. I'm like, oh, so she was in this, and so that's really cool. Night of the Demons. Yeah, I like the main actress in this one. I don't know her name. I think it's Kathy something. But yeah, this was a fun one. Good practical effects. It's a lot of fun. It's, you know, not the greatest movie in the world, but it's fun. Number 17, one that Tim Talks Talkies absolutely hates. Hellfest. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. Kind of gets better upon every rewatch. I like the simplicity to it. I like that the ending kind of takes you for a surprise. That little spoiler alert here, you find out that the killer's like a family man. It's a fun one. It's a fun one. I find myself enjoying it every time I rewatch it. I like the characters. I like the story, the setting, everything like that. It's all enjoyable to me. It's got some pretty cool kills. And I know there's a lot of complaints with it. The first time I watched it, I didn't love it. I thought it was, it's okay. I wish it would have done better because I kind of would have liked to see this turn into a franchise personally. But yeah, it's a fun one. I really enjoy Hellfest. And that was the one I watched on October 2nd. So I watched Haunt and Hellfest back to back. Night of the Creeps. Jill Whitlow, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Absolutely adore her. I am in love with her in this movie. She is just adorable. I love Night of the Creeps. It's just a fun watch. This movie is so quotable. It's got incredible quotes. It's very memorable. Good performances. I like the guy that is with the crutches too. I don't know his name. I remember looking him up, and he's not in a ton of stuff, but he's cool too. And you got Tom Atkins in this. So the beginning's a little strange. It sets up. I was like, I'm not gonna like this movie, but I ended up really enjoying that movie once I get past the first like 10 or 15 minutes. It's funny. There's a scene in that movie in the beginning that reminds me of the original Blob. It reminds me of the original Blob a ton. Maybe it was inspired by that. We've got Evil Dead up next, number 15. I mean, this is a great remake. I love this movie. I think I'd probably enjoy this just a tiny bit more than the original. Right on par with it. I love this one. I love the cast in it. It's got great colors. Looks good on 4K. This is a good one. This is a really good one. Evil Dead is great. Lots of blood. It's probably one of the most bloodiest movies I've ever seen. All right, next up, I've kind of got all three of these in an order here. We've got number 14, which is going to be Child's Play 3. By the way, the transfers on these looked absolutely incredible, just remarkable. I enjoy Child's Play 3 a ton. This was tough to put like above Hellfest and maybe even Evil Dead. It's hit or miss. I don't know. I just kind of put them together, but because I kind of loved all three of these together. I enjoy this one. I really like the ending of it. I just have a lot of fun. I think Chucky's great. I mean, Chucky's great and everything, but yeah, Child's Play 3 is fun. And I have actually been holding off on watching the second season. Been doing good, focusing on movies and stuff. And so it'll be really nice because then I'll be able to binge watch the second season. All right, next up we've got Child's Play, the original one. It's a classic, right? It's just fun. It's once again very memorable quotes. Chucky says Maggie's a real bitch and she got what she deserves. I love that. And like when Chucky's about to get thrown in the fire, it's just, this movie's so good. It's so quotable and it's fun and it just holds up really well in my opinion upon each rewatch. This was a great rewatch for me, Child's Play 2. This would be number 12. I think the 4K transfer looked incredible. Scream Factory did a great job with these. No company's perfect. I have had my issues with Scream Factory lately, especially a lot of people complaining about these releases, but the 4K transfers look great. And Scream Factory normally does really good work on their transfers. So, this is a great one. The transfer is honestly probably one of the best of the year. So, love Child's Play 2. It's a very fun watch. Big fan of that one. All right, next up we have got number 11. I'm going to go with House of Wax, the remake of. I've never seen the original one. Love Alicia Cuthbert, if that's how you want to pronounce her name. You got Chad Michael Murray in this, who never really evolved into a big actor. A lot of B stuff and things like that. I adore this movie. Shout out to Slashing Captain, my buddy Kevin. He is a big fan of the House of Wax remake here. I love the setting, practical effects. I heard that they use peanut butter at the very end of this. That's a lot of peanut butter. I adore this one. You got Paris Hilton in it, and I really like the cast of this one. Big fan of the cast. The entire cast in that one's great. Okay, getting into that deeper here. We're into top. Okay, this would be number 10 now, to top 10. So we have got Selma Hayek could bite me in this movie anytime she wants. And she could put her foot in my mouth too. Did I just say that out? Whatever. Anyways, yeah, we've got From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm not a foot guy. I don't have a foot fetish, but Quentin Tarantino I think does. And it's Selma Hayek. Like seriously, I'm pretty sure and it's funny because I'm not the biggest Selma Hayek fan. Like now, I think she's slightly overrated. I don't know, but in this movie she looked incredible, absolutely incredible. I love Juliette Lewis. I just think Juliette Lewis is great too. So this is a fun watch. From Dusk Till Dawn, number 10 for me. It was a great rewatch. A funny story, the first time I watched that was with my buddy Chris, Codebreaker, and he was like, listen, you got to watch this. And I was like, nah, I don't really want to watch it. He told me it was a vampire movie. We put it on, and I enjoyed it. And this was my first time rewatching it in a long time. So that was a fun rewatch. I got the remake at number 9 of Fright Night. This might be a tad bit high. I could swap this in From Dusk Till Dawn. I enjoy the heck out of the remake. Now, keep in mind, I am a massive Imogen Poots fan, and I loved Anton Yelchin. Rest in peace. Loved Anton Yelchin. I thought he was great. I loved him in this. I loved him in Imogen Poots' chemistry in this. It was great. You've got Toni Collette in this one as well, which I totally forgot about upon rewatching this. And then you got McLovin in this one. Yeah, very nice lenticular slipcover here. I think lenticular is like my buddy Mike's favorite word to say. Love saying it. He'll text me randomly and just be like, it's got a lenticular slipcover. But yeah, this one, I don't watch the 3D version, but yeah. Love Fright Night. I absolutely love Fright Night. All right, next up. 28 Days Later, the original one here. This is going to be number 8 for me. This was a fun rewatch because it was a long time since I had seen this. I love the ending of this movie when it gets really crazy and Cillian Murphy just goes crazy in this. But you got a good cast in this one too. They did a really good job. The acting's really good. A lot of people complain about the transfer of this. Here's the thing. They shot this with a, I don't know what kind of camera it was. But I looked it up when I was watching it. It's not shot with so the director here, which is Danny Boyle, his idea, what he was going for was to make the movie feel very real and very like a real apocalypse. And I thought he did a great job with that. I don't know that if this does get a 4K, I don't know it's ever going to look that much better because of the way it was shot. But that was the idea. So that's a fun one, kind of a disease, not so much a zombie movie, but yeah, more like a disease and stuff like that. All right, next up, number 7, Mika's favorite horror film of all time. We got Halloween here. Most people's favorite horror film of all time. I think this ended up being number 3 on Tim Talks Talkies live stream that he did on Saturday night. If you missed that, go check it out. It was incredible. He put so much work into it, so go reward him by watching the stream, giving a like and things like that. But yeah, this was a rewatch for me. First time rewatch in a long time. I've seen it a couple times, but I wanted to rewatch it. I didn't rewatch this for my John Carpenter ranking stream or my Halloween franchise ranking stream. This was number 2 in my Halloween franchise ranking. And for John Carpenter, I put it number 4 behind Vampires. After rewatching it, I would put it above Vampires. I would still keep it below The Thing and Christine. But I did like this even better rewatching it. I've been kind of not hating on this movie, but giving it a tough time because I'm sick and tired of Halloween right now. I just am. I'm over the franchise. Halloween ends, and then the crap with the Halloween 3, everybody hated that. I won't get into that again. But, yeah, everybody hated that. I hated Halloween 3. I thought the world was going to end in Tim's stream, seriously. But, everybody loves Halloween 3 now, except me. But yeah, we got Halloween here. This was a good rewatch. It was. And, I was paying close attention to it to really give myself a good opinion and rating of this film, and loved it upon the rewatch even more. I thought some of the tracking shots are incredible. The steady cam, the wide shots, long shots, extreme long. I mean, excuse me. I think it was great. Great rewatch. It's not necessarily one of my favorite. I don't know if it would end up. It might end up, after rewatching it, would probably end up in my top 25 favorite horror films of all time. But yeah, I know that's too low for most people, but and I think it's the fact that this movie gets so much love, and I feel like people forget about some of the other franchises out there. They usually will say this is the first slasher ever made, which is my biggest problem, because I'm like, did everybody forget about Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Peeping Tom, Psycho? So, yeah, but this is a good one. My biggest complaint is honestly probably Laurie Strode in that one. I think she is just such a weak final girl in that movie, and that's probably my biggest problem. But outside of that, I think I love her in H2O. I just, in that one, not so much. But I like my final girls to fight back a little bit. I like tough final girls. Next up, we've got number 6. Shout out to Mel over at My Killer Podcast. It's probably one of her, if not her favorite horror film of all time. I love The Lost Boys. This was a first-time rewatch for me as well. I didn't remember much about it at all, and really enjoyed it. Had a blast with it. Super fun movie. Just, the slipcover pisses a lot of people off, but this is a pretty cool, iconic scene in the movie. I just had fun with it. Jamie Gertz is great. I'm a big fan of her, so I loved it upon rewatching it. It holds up really well, too. So it's not one of those movies that ages poorly. It holds up really well. Number 5, into the top 5, we've got Haunt. Tim liked this way more than Hellfest, let's just say that. But yeah, I recommended this one to Tim. He enjoyed it. I recommend this movie to anybody and everybody. I think it has got an incredible setting, set pieces. This is great. I like the cast, maybe some poor decision making, but I love the ending of this. I think it's got one of the best endings of like any horror film ever made. I love Haunt as well. And this is an awesome collector's edition released by Ronin Flicks, which is still in print. So if you don't have that, I would recommend picking it up. Number 4, we've got The Descent, the movie that can make you feel very claustrophobic. And it does. It does exactly that. I feel like this movie succeeds at what it sets out to do. You've got Neil Marshall directed this one. Same director of Doomsday and Dog Soldiers. I love Descent. My boy Discompletist, Ronaldo, he is a big fan of Doomsday as well. He likes Neil Marshall, so shout out to him. I love The Descent. I think Neil Marshall's probably one of my favorite directors, at least, those 3 movies I mentioned, but this is a great one, and it was a good rewatch as well, so that was a fun one to rewatch. All right, into that final 3 here. We've got the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I also love the original. I I absolutely adore this film. Jessica Biel, I think the cast is incredible. It holds a special place in my heart. When I saw it, I watched it with my dad. I remember the night I saw this in theaters. We got home and we rented Wrong Turn, I believe, on VHS. It might have been, probably VHS. Might have been DVD at that time, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, it was a great day. We watched this and then, rented Wrong Turn. So same year, 2003. Big fan of that one. Great remake. It's probably one of the best ones out there in my opinion. All right, next up we got 28 Weeks Later coming in at number 2 for me. I love the remake of 28 Weeks Later. I think, or not the remake, I'm sorry, the sequel to 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later here. I love this one. Absolutely love it. This is number 2 on my list of my 31 Days of Halloween. It was a great rewatch, this and 28 Days Later. Haven't seen them in so long, so this was really fun to rewatch. Love the beginning of this. I think it's one of the greatest opening sequences in any horror film ever made, in my personal opinion, up there with Scream and It Follows. But yeah, 28 Weeks Later is just incredible. It has great pacing throughout. It's really, once the action gets started, this movie is non-stop. It is like just high octane from really start to finish, but it's a good one. It's a good one. I love 28 Weeks Later. And one of the greatest scores, honestly. John Murphy gives like the greatest score in that. And number 1, one of my favorite horror films of all time, I have got A Quiet Place. I love this movie. The scene in the bathtub, is it right there? Oh my God, like when she steps on the nail, in the scene where he's like, I love you, I've always loved you, he says to his daughter. I love this movie. It was a great rewatch, still holds up. I think this is also one of the greatest opening sequences. It's one of the most shocking, and it sets the tone for the rest of the movie. I love when movies take chances, so I love A Quiet Place. I'm a big fan of it. Just Emily Blunt is one of my favorites. I adore her to death. I think she's beautiful. I think she's highly talented, an incredible actress. John Krasinski has a bright future ahead of him as a filmmaker. I hope he directs more movies. I think he's a great actor too, and I thought A Quiet Place 2 was an incredible follow-up to this as well. So I just love this movie. I don't know how I feel about is it a prequel or a spin-off they're doing? I would love to see him just get a chance at making a third one, honestly. I know some people feel like you'd start beating a dead horse, but I don't know. The sequel really worked well for me on this one, and I love The Quiet Place. So that is my 31 days of Halloween ranking. So that's 31 films. I watched a bunch of other films. I didn't want to include those in here. I'm already around the 30-minute mark, so this was a good cutoff time just to do those 31. Very passionate about these movies that I've seen. I mean what I say. Look, I'm an open book. I'm never going to lie to somebody. If I don't like a movie, I'm not going to say I do just to please somebody. It's not who I am. I think film is very subjective. There's no need, no reason to attack somebody because of something. And I get it. You're passionate, right? We all are. Speaking of passion, Tim Talks Talk, he's super passionate when he speaks. And that's something I love about him and having him on my channel is he's very passionate. And I'm always going to be passionate about movies that I love and movies that I didn't like. I'm gonna say that. I'm not gonna hide that. But I respect other people's opinions. I'm never gonna disrespect somebody for a movie you love. It's just a matter of tastes. You know, different strokes, different folks. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. You know, it's something different. I wanted to do a ranking there of my 31 days. So I'll probably do the same thing for Christmas, 25 days of Christmas. I'm kind of setting up my list. I have a lot of my movies at this point boxed up. What you see behind me is pretty much all I got left at this point. So I don't know. I'm trying to put out more content, but I don't know. I'm working a ton lately and stuff like that. You start to run out of ideas or get burnt out and things like that. So hopefully you enjoyed a lot of the live streams I posted this month. I appreciate everybody who had me on as a guest. And yeah, I'll be trying to put out some more content here soon. But hopefully you enjoyed this video, and be sure to hit that like button. It always helps with that YouTube algorithm. Comment. I love reading your comments. And hit that subscribe button and let me know what your thoughts were on the video, like some of your favorite movies, what you think of the 31 days of 31 movies I watched, and things like that. So until next time, have a good one, and happy Halloween, everybody. It is October 31st when I'm recording this video, so I hope everybody's enjoying their Halloween and, you know, dressed up, things like that. And until next time, have a good one.